Hello everybody, welcome to the very first video of the GI Archives. Today we're diving into one of the standard United States uniforms from World War II, the M37 Wool uniform. This uniform consisted of two main pieces, the M37 Wool trousers, officially known as the trousers wool serge olive drab light shade, and the M37 Wool shirt, also known as the shirt flannel olive drab coat style. While the shirt was originally introduced in 1934, it was modified in 1937, and when paired with the trousers from the same year, it formed the M37 Wool uniform. So this uniform was designed to be worn under the wool serge 4-button coat, and when paired with a tie and a garrison cap, it formed the A-class uniform, also known as the winter service uniform. For the summer months, the army would switch to cotton shirts and trousers instead of wool, so that was way less warm. During the interwar period, the United States Army sought to cut costs, and this led to the integration of service and combat uniforms. As a result, the M37 wool uniform became the standard for both service and combat roles. For combat, soldiers paired the uniform with M1 helmet, field boots, M1938 canvas leggings, and web gear. In the European theater, such as during Operation Torch or the Normandy invasion, soldiers would often layer the wool uniform with HBT trousers or the M41 jacket and later the M43 uniform. In essence, the uniform adapted to different climates and needs depending on the theater of operation and available resources. So, the M37 wool uniform saw a notable variation in 1941, known as the gas flap variation. Officially, these were referred to as the special versions, with the trousers called the trousers wool serge olive drab light shade special and the shirt as the shirt flannel olive drab coat style special. These special uniforms were designed with an extra protective feature to help guard against chemical attacks. For example, the shirt included an additional flap at the chest area, creating a double closure, together with extra pieces of fabric at the wrists for a tighter fit. While the trousers had a flap covering the fly on the inside, this design helped to make the uniform more sealed off and resistant to gas. These gas flap uniforms were particularly important during the time of the Normandy invasion, as there were concerns about potential German gas attacks. This necessity also led to the use of CC2 compound on clothing and footwear to maintain protected while not every soldier received the gas flap variation. It was definitely a significant step in enhancing soldier safety. So another interesting fact about the M37 uniform is that it also served as the B-class uniform. As we discussed, the A-class uniform included the M37 wool components, the 4-pocket coat, which was later replaced by the Ike jacket, a garrison cap, a tie, and service shoes or jump boots for airborne troops in my situation. So in situations where the A-class wasn't really practical, the United States Army introduced the B-class uniform. Essentially, the B-class uniform consisted of the wool uniform paired with the issued footwear, whether that was canvas leggings or jump boots, along with an olive drab khaki tie, a garrison cap, and any insignia or decorations earned, such as the Combat Infantry Badge, though very rare, or the Presidential Unit Citation. This B-class uniform was often seen in stage photographs after the Normandy invasion in England, since the A-class wasn't really practical when you had to wear your service uniform but still work in the field and in the sand. Here you can see some members of the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment wearing their B-class in England, together with their jump wings and their Presidential Unit Citation, because that's what they had earned in the Normandy invasion and previously. So also you see two guys here wearing the Combat Infantry Badge. However, this is very rare and you can only see it after the Normandy invasion, since you wouldn't have any time to earn it before that. Now that we've covered the details of the M37 uniform and how it was intended to be worn, it's also important to look at how soldiers actually received and experienced the uniform during World War II. From my research, it's clear that opinions were mixed. The wool shirts were generally disliked, mainly because they were quite itchy and uncomfortable. Soldiers often left the collars open with scarves to minimize irritation. In fact, many troops improvised by cutting parachute fabric to make scarves and lessen the discomfort. On the other hand, the wool trousers were generally well received. There were fewer complaints about them and they provided good warmth in the field. There were even official quartermaster reports that highlighted which trousers were preferred for winter combat. For example, the 18-ounce wool trousers and the winter combat trousers stood out as the top choices. This reflects the wool trousers, especially those with the gas flap design, were appreciated for their durability and warmth. In contrast, the wool shirts often cause discomfort, and it was definitely recommended to wear an undershirt to avoid the itching, or wearing a scarf. And seen a lot of normally soldiers would cut up, use parachutes, make a scarf, keep your neck from getting all scratched up and trying to get that itch off. Here you can see an official quartermaster report stating which trousers were preferred during winter combat, and the two on top would be the winter combat trousers and the 18-ounce wool trousers. Those were also known as the wool gas flap trousers. Put on your boots and parachute. So when it comes down to reenacting as an American GI in World War II, especially in the European theater of operations, it's generally recommended to wear your wools and trousers under your combat gear. This applies to whether you're portraying a mortar unit, a standard rifleman, or an airborne paratrooper. The wool uniform not only adds accuracy, but also ensures comfort and warmth in the battlefield. That said, there are exceptions. For instance, the 82nd Airborne's 505th did not wear wool trousers during the jump into Normandy. Similarly, troops storming Omaha Beach, like those in the 2nd Infantry Division after Omaha Beach, not on, seen here often wore HBT trousers over their wool uniforms or even opted for them instead. In essence, while it's wise to follow the general rule of wearing wools, always consider that specific unit and historical context you're reenacting, and remember, if you're wearing your wool shirt, definitely wear an A-frame under it to avoid discomfort during events. So overall, it's clear that while the wool uniform had its pros and cons, the trousers were definitely more favored than the shirts, but in the end, it's safe to say this is one of the most famous and recognizable pieces of clothing that were issued to the GIs in the ETO in World War II. And that was it, folks. I hope you found this information useful. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, or comment whatever piece of gear you'd like me to cover next. Thank you all, and see you on the front lines. Put on your boots and parachute, shoot, shoot.